Yes, you can. It was very funny that I was speaking alone. So I was saying that this is the R console, like where your codes will be executed and where now we get the output from the execution of that particular command. Now, this is not where you're supposed to be writing the commands. Like I was saying, to write the commands, you need to open a new script. So this is a R script. Now it opens the R editor window. Now from the editor window, you can write your codes. So like if I say 3 plus 2, I need to run that and get the output. Now the output is supposed to be printed on the R console. The editor window is just for me to write the commands. But when I run them, I'm expecting to have the output on the R console. So how do I run this? Now you go to the menus, you realize there is open script. Suppose you had another R script. This is now the R script. When you save this, it will be called an R script. So you already have one that is saved and you want to open, you will come to this open script. If you want to save this script, you have written your codes and you want to save, the shortcut is just also to come here and save. Then there's this option to run a line or a selection. Suppose we have several commands, we can actually highlight them and run or run that line. Then we also have this to return to the focus console, this console now, and of course an option to print. So I have 2 plus 3. I want to run this. I want to run this. So I'll come and say run line. Now you can see the output is in the console. The output is in the console. Now another thing that you need to know is that suppose I have a graph. Maybe I'm generating a graph in R. So I'll write the commands on this editor window. And once I do, I come to this R console here on the banner and run. When I run, because a graph is to be generated, that graph will not be on the R console, but instead another window will open to display the graph. So literally we have about 4 windows in R. One, we have this window, the R console, where our codes are executed and the output is given. We have the editor, where now we edit our codes. And we also have another window that suppose we print a graph, the graph will be generated in that window. We'll look at that when we're doing graphics. So those are the basic consoles that, or other windows that we'll find in R as a software. Now we will also look at and discuss about R packages. So I'll leave this as we proceed. We'll discuss about this. So we also have the edit option here that we can do. We can clear console and all that. But most importantly, that I wanted to show you is the consoles that are here under R. Like we have the R console, or rather the windows that are here. We have the R console where our codes are executed and get the output. We have the editor window where we are writing our codes and execute them. And we have the other window now where now suppose we plot a graph, the graph will be printed on such a window. So basically, this R software is a software for statistical computing. And like I said yesterday, it is free and open source. So anyone can download and have it in his laptop or her laptop and be able to do all the operations that R can do. Now, we have, on the other hand, we have R Studio. What is this R Studio? What is the difference now of R and R Studio? And why R Studio? Now, allow me to close this because in this class you're not going to use this as much. We'll just focus on using the R Studio. So just allow me to close this without even saving. Don't worry about the saving, you will see that. Allow me now to launch my R Studio, okay, but don't worry. So that is my R Studio loading. I hope we are all there. We are able to launch our software. Okay, so here we go. Just allow me to do something fishy. Okay, we are opening R for the first time. So I'm not expecting to have this whatever I've been doing. Now, this is my R Studio. I hope we are all opening R Studio from our end. So this is how it looks like for the first time when we open our R Studio. Now, basically, R Studio is an ED. Is it IDE or EDA? Yeah, they say nowadays is A for elephant. So it's an EDA for working with R. It is an interface that is used to interact with R. The software is R, what we have been looking at. But now the R Studio is just an EDA to work with R. Can someone tell us what is an EDA? IDA, if you like it that way. What is an IDA? From your understanding, maybe, what do you think an IDE is? Now, basically, okay, IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Like, it is a software application that helps developers to develop, or rather to write code efficiently. Like, it simplifies what R is doing. So R Studio is actually increasing the productivity by combining different capabilities together. Like, look at this. This is what I'm trying to say. You see, this is the console, the R console that we were all seeing when we launched our R. And this is where now we're saying our code will be executed and we'll get our output. This is the console. Okay, let's say this is the window, even though we have only one. So it is this console where our codes will be executed and again get our output. Now, there's an option here to minimize this console. So when you click minimize, you realize you have another console up here. Now, this is the R editor we were seeing in R. Now, this is where now we are writing our codes. We write our codes, we come up here, we run our codes, we get our output down here. The codes are executed and we get our output here. So basically, these are the two consoles we were seeing in R. Now they are here in R Studio, just in the same window. That is now what we mean by an EDA, an integrated environment. Now again, I was saying, suppose we do a plot in R. Another window will open to display the output. Now, in R Studio, that window is this one here, where you're seeing my cursor. The top right window, where we have files, plots, and all that. This is the window. Now, top of that, we have the other window that is on environment. That is the global environment. We'll talk what is happening there. But briefly, I'm saying that R Studio as an EDA increases the developer productivity by combining different capabilities, such as the software editing, it is here already, the buildings, the testing, and the packages. And this makes it to be easy to use an application. Like, it is easy to use because I don't have to open, like what we are doing in R, open the R editor, write the codes. I don't know, to come to R console, run, see the output. If I do a graph in R editor, I run that, it is executed in the console, output in another window. So you see, we are trying to do almost everything. Actually, not almost everything, but everything in one window. There is now the R Studio. There is now the R Studio. So you realize, from the R Studio, on the menu, we have files. This is basically like the one we were having in R. So in files, we can open a new R script, like the one we are doing. We will be writing our codes and all that. There are other files, of course, that we are going to talk about as we proceed. We can also open a file that already exists, and other options that we will talk about as we proceed. But most important, we also have the save. We also have the save and also close that window and all that. We also have the edit, that just like it was there, but now here we have more and more other features that are added, like copy pasting, selecting, folding, and all that. We also have the code. Remember, we are writing instruction. We are instructing the software to do something. That is not what we call the code. So at times we will be inserting a code at some point. Maybe there is no space and all that. That is what we can do here. And other functionalities that we will also discuss as we proceed. We have the view, the plots, the R session. We will also interact with these as we proceed. So some of these functionalities actually have a shortcut here. Like if you want a new R script, you can just click here and you have a new R file. And it also has a drop down so that you can have the other options as well. You also have create project. These are just shortcuts, like save. You can just click here to save, or you can click here to save everything that is here, to print. So there are those options. And again, they are very same. Like here we have save current document. You will interact with these and you'll be able to see. This is to undo, go back to previous source location and all that. And most important is this button here, where will be used to run the current line or selection. So basically, this upper left window will be using it to write our codes. Suppose I'm using R as a calculator and I want to do the 2 plus 3. That is where now I'll type my command and then I'll run here. So I'll click run. And now the code will be executed on the bottom left chamber. Allow me to call it chamber, but it's a R console. and I have 2 plus 2 as 5. You can see it's even R console R4.22. So R Studio is just taking the R that is in your PC and bringing it together and integrate it. That is why without R in your laptop, you will never be able to run R Studio. That is why whenever you install the tool, you always have to start with R. The fact is that whatever you are doing here is actually being executed in your R. This is just the interface of R now changed by this R Studio. It's integrated. Now, let's come to the right chambers, or rather the right. We have the environment, the global environment. We'll talk about the environment, the history, the connection. Now, the environment, like the global environment, here now is where we will be storing our data. Our data. Let me just say data, because if I start saying variables, we'll start ask what is a variable. But basically, here is where now all the information that we'll be doing will be stored here in the environment. We also have history, as the name suggests, like what happened previously. Okay, I've been using R, and this is what I've been doing previously. You can see I've been doing some business with R. So previously, what has been happening? So this is the history. Now connections, of course there are some connections that maybe will create in the process of your analysis and all that. Tutorials, we all know. Now this is a case where now we will be learning, looking at some tutorials and all that. But mostly the environment is most useful. Now the bottom right chamber is where now we have files. Now basically files, these are those folders in your PC. At times you'll be importing data. We'll talk about working directory, you'll understand that. So that is the folder where we are getting, maybe if it's data, or maybe where we are storing information and all that. That is the file. Then we have plots. Now for this window, under plots is where now we have our graphic representation, or rather the visualization. If we do a chart, the chart will be displayed under plots. Now packages, we will go back and talk more about packages, what a package is, but basically this is where all the packages are listed. The question is, what is a package? Now help, R also gives us help. I'll show you how to get help. Suppose maybe you have a function or a command you don't understand, you can come to help, and this is where now it will be displayed. Of course you'll do it here. Everything that is displayed here in most of the cases is because you wrote the command here, it was executed in the console, and you're getting the output here, if it's help or plot. Now viewer, still it's all about how you observe features and all that. Presentation as well. So mostly here we focus on plots, help. At times it is very important to look at help, because in most of the cases, like now when you are starting, you will need help. Packages as well, plots are very important. So basically that is the R Studio, an integrated development environment for the R software. And I was saying it increases the productivity. For me, I say it makes work easier.